Hi everyone. So we are doing G3 today, which is an extension of the geometry module, and we are doing polygons today. So let's start with this. What are the things that we are going to learn? As usual, what polygons are, what properties are of the polygons, and then the different varieties of polygons, which is quadrilaterals part 1 and quadrilaterals part 2. Start with this. So obviously a polygon is defined as any closed figure having the straight line sides, any closed figure having the straight line sides. Then these are the different types of polygon: three sides triangle, five sides pentagon, a star shaped, etc, etc. These polygons can be classified into two types. One is convex polygon, one is concave polygon. So what are convex polygon? Two properties you should remember. One property is that the interior angles or the internal angles are all less than 180 degree. You can verify that via figure. And the second property is, if you try to join any of the two vertices, then that line which joins the any of the two vertices, it is gonna lie inside the figure. So line joining the vertices does not lie outside the figure. You can try it for any of the two vertices, and then you'll see that it is the true property. So these two are the classification or the identification of convex polygons. These are the different types of convex polygons. As usual, the second type is concave polygon, obviously exactly ulta. At least one interior angles, one of the internal angles is greater than 180, and line joining the two vertices is gonna lie outside the figure. Line joining the two vertices will lie outside the polygon. So these are the types of concave polygon. Now obviously, depending on the sides, these are the names. All these are Greek names. Nobody will ask you. Obviously, some properties you should know. So three-sided triangle, four-sided quadrilateral, the generic name. Five-sided pentagon, six-sided hexagon, seven-sided septagon or heptagon, eight-sided octagon, nine-sided nonagon, ten-sided decagon. Then there is something called as regular polygon. So regular polygon is something which will have equal sides as well as equal angles. So all these are regular polygons. This is not the regular polygon. The sides are equal but the angles are not equal. So if we just slightly change that last figure, modify that last figure to something like this, and now you will say that it's a regular polygon because all the sides as well as the angles are equal. Now the properties of regular polygon. The first one, sum of all interior angles of a polygon is given by a formula n minus 2 into 180 degree, where n is the number of sides. Very important. So here it's a pentagon, n becomes 5, 5 minus 2, that is 3, 3 into 180, that is 540 degree is the sum of all interior angles of a pentagon. So n minus 2 into 180 degree is what we are looking at. The next one, basically the sum of an interior and exterior angle is always 180. That is, they are supplementary. You can clearly see, if you keep on drawing the exterior angles, the sum of interior as well as exterior is going to be supplementary. That is, the sum is 180 degree. The third property, sum of all exterior angles 360 degree. Then sum of each exterior angle is basically 360 by n. Again, n is the number of sides. So for pentagon, n is 5, so 360 upon 5, that is 72 degree is each of the exterior angle of a pentagon. Then there is each interior angle. Now we know the sum of interior as well as exterior, which is 180, and we just now have seen each exterior angle. So if we subtract each exterior from the sum of the interior and exterior, the result will be the sum of the measurement of each of the interior angle, and hence the formula is 180 minus 360 upon n. Again, the practical way to remember this, don't by heart. Remember, because you would know each interior, you would know each, sorry, you would know sum, you would know each exterior. Subtract that from the sum, you get each interior. That is how you should remember. The next one, Regular polygons, we are continuing the properties. Perimeter is n into length of each side. There is a pentagon, each side is x, so 5 sides, so perimeter is 5x. Then there is area. Now for area of the polygon, there is a very unique process which we are going to use, and which will also enable us to have a standard formula as well. So what we do is we join the center point with all the vertices, something like that, as you can see in the figure. And in turn, what we have done is we have formed 5 triangles here. So basically you find area of each of the triangles and do into 5, and you will have your answer. So area of each triangle, the basic formula, half into base into height. Suppose we consider the base triangle which is highlighted. Base is there x. Let's draw the height which is h. So the area of that triangle becomes half into x into h. And there are such 5 triangles. Obviously here for pentagon, for hexagon it will be 6, for quadrilateral it will be 4, and so on. But the point here is you already know that n into x is perimeter. Half of that is semi-perimeter, and hence the formula of area of any regular polygon is semi-perimeter into height, semi-perimeter into h. So we have derived this formula. Remember this, very important, very critical formula. And using here we will have the area of pentagon 5x by 2 into h. Again the h is defined as the height of a regular polygon, which is distance of the center of the polygon from any of the sides. So basically you can draw that perpendicular anywhere on the other bases as well, other 4 bases as well, and it will turn out to be the same. Now we can apply this formula to a regular hexagon, and the beauty of hexagon is when you join the center point with all the vertices, the triangles that you form are equilateral triangles. So this only happens in the case of hexagon, nowhere else it happens. Remember that as well, that the triangles are equilateral triangles, and straight away we have 6 equilateral triangles. So you can do area of equilateral triangle. You should know the formula, which is root 3 by 4 into side square. Such 6 equilateral triangles into 6, you will have your answer. But if we use the formula that we have just now seen, which is semi-perimeter into height, you are gonna get the same answer. So semi-perimeter will be 3x and height will be root 3 by 2 into side, because it is a equilateral triangle. So in short, you get the formula as 3 root 3 by 2 into side square. So this is the direct formula of area of hexagon, again which you can remember it, 3 root 3 by 2 into side square, or you can derive this way by using semi-perimeter into h, or you can do it equilateral triangle ka area into 6 equilateral triangle, whichever way you remember, whichever way you look at it. Remember all the ways. As I said, you never know which one will be handy at which scenario. So this is how we apply the formula. The next part is the classification of quadrilaterals, but before that we would learn what are quadrilaterals and what are generic properties associated with them. So again, the first one, sum of all interior angles, we know it is 360 for quadrilateral, but because it's a polygon, we know the formula n minus 2 into 180 degree, and for quadrilateral 4 sides are there, so n becomes 4, so that gives us the same answer, which is 360. Now this is the proof that y p plus q plus r plus s is 360. This is the reason. Perimeter, sum of all sides, no problems with that. Area is a very unique thing. 2 ways we can define this. One way is you join one of the diagonals like this. In turn, you have formed 2 triangles. Find the area of both the triangles, add them, you will get your answer. So area of triangle, half into base. Let's draw the 2 heights, h1 and h2. So top triangle, the area is half into h1 into d. The bottom triangle area is half into h2 into d. Half and d common, you get h1 plus h2. That's the area of quadrilateral. The second way can be you join the other diagonal as well. So d1 and d2 are the 2 diagonals, and the formula is half into d1 d2 sine theta. Remember this formula. This is going to have a connection and a reference point in the future, and this is the formula. Now the beauty is, again, it doesn't matter which theta you choose, which of the 4 angles you choose, because if this is theta, obviously the one beside that is 180 minus theta because of the straight line. and you know sine of 180 minus theta is still sine theta only. So whichever one of the four angles you choose, irrelevant based on the trigonometry that we have learned in the previous class. So this is the way you can find the area of the quadrilateral. Now, as I said earlier, the classification of quadrilateral in three ways this can be done. One is when both pair of opposite sides are parallel and equal, you get a parallelogram. When only one pair of opposite sides is parallel, you get a trapezium. And no pair of opposite sides is parallel, you get a kite or a generic quadrilateral. Because we want to study the properties of kite, so we will focus more on kite. So these are the three classifications. So let's start with each one of them. The first one is parallelogram. Now parallelogram itself is classified into three different categories. One is when all the sides are equal, you get rhombus. The second one, when all the angles are equal, you get a rectangle. And then there is a mixture of both of them, when the angles as well as the sides all are equal, and you get a square. So in these three ways, parallelogram itself is classified. So what we are going to do now is, hold your horses, we are going to study the properties, the individual properties of rhombus, rectangle, square individually, which is a classification of parallelogram. And then we'll also have to see for the other two classification of quadrilateral, which is trapezium as well as kite. So parallelogram is one classification of quadrilateral. That's the hierarchy that you need to follow. But before we go to the individual properties of rhombus, rectangle, square, let's study the generic properties of parallelogram, which is by default in a way will be applicable to all three of them. So the first one is obviously the opposite sides and the opposite angles, they are equal and parallel. That goes without saying. That's the name, that's the classification, and hence it is there. The next property is that the interior adjacent angles are supplementary. Look at the wordings: interior अंदर के side में, adjacent बाजू बाजू में, angles are supplementary. Supplementary sum is 180 degree. That is what we are looking at. Then the next one, the diagonals will bisect each other, will divide each other into two equal parts of the parallelogram. Then the properties of parallelogram, area is base into height. If somebody considers this as the base and this as the height, formula is BH. But for all you know, somebody can take the other side as the base and then the height will be different. So either you remember A into X or B into H, but remember the generic one, which is base into height. That is going to count more. Then there is one more formula of parallelogram ka area, which is AB into sine theta. Again, theta is the angle enclosed between the two sides. No other angle is required, only the angle between the two sides. Again, remember this formula. It is going to have a future reference in a while just now. So half into d1 d2 sine theta from quadrilateral and AB sine theta from parallelogram. Okay, let's start with the classification of parallelogram. The first one, where all the sides are equal, you get a rhombus, and the properties of rhombus are as following. The first one, the diagonals of a rhombus are the angle bisectors of the vertex angle. So they divide the vertex angle into two equal angles. The second one, the diagonals of the rhombus are perpendicular to each other, so they intersect at 90 degree. The next one is obviously perimeter and area, but before that, the diagonals of a rhombus also divide the rhombus into four congruent triangles. So these four triangles which have been highlighted right now in the diagram, they will be congruent triangles. Their angles, their sides, they all are equal. Then perimeter, sum of all sides, that goes without saying. Each side is x, perimeter is 4x. Area, so parallelogram ka subtype is rhombus. So area of parallelogram, which is AB sine theta, the general formula is applicable here. It will give you x square sine 2x or x square sine 2o. But you remember that parallelogram itself is a classification of quadrilateral. So area of quadrilateral ka formula should hold true as well, which is half into d1 d2 sine theta. So half into d1 d2, but sine theta, the angle is 90 degree, and you know by now using trigonometry that sine 90 is 1, and hence that term of sine 90 goes off and the formula is half into d1 d2. These are the reasons, and this is why this is the formula. You should remember like this again, because you should not just by heart, you will not remember it for a longer duration. You should remember it with a connection, that why it is like this. The second classification of parallelogram, when all the angles are equal, we get a rectangle. The properties of rectangle, the diagonals are equal, but they are not perpendicular to each other. And the four triangles that we get because of the diagonals of the rhombus, because of the diagonals of the rectangle, they are equal areas. They will have equal areas. These four triangles will have equal area. Perimeter, as usual, 2 times length plus breadth. Area, parallelogram, so AB sine theta, that is LB sine 90, which is 1, and hence the area of rectangle is length into breadth. This is the proof. We have been doing this in school days. Area of rectangle is length into breadth. Why it is like that, we come to know now today. The other one, from the quadrilateral, which is half into d1 d2 sine theta, half into d1 d2 are equal and sine theta as it is. So d1 d2 equal becomes d square. So half into d square sine theta is the another formula for area of rectangle. Now the third and the last classification of parallelogram, which is angles and sides both are equal, you get square. And because square is the combination of rhombus and rectangle, so both their properties will hold true. So all you have to do is copy paste both of their properties here. The first one, the diagonals are equal, angle bisector, perpendicular. Equal has come from rectangle, angle bisectors and perpendicular came from rhombus. Then the triangles, because of the diagonals, the four triangles, they will be congruent triangles. Perimeter, sum of all sides, each side is x, perimeter is 4x. Area, it's a parallelogram ka type, so AB sine theta, which is x square, sine 90, which is 1, and hence it is x square, which is side square. You would know now why it is. And then lastly, quadrilateral ka area, half into d1 d2 sine theta. d1 d2 are same, that means it is half into d square. Sine 90 is 1, that term goes off. So half into d square is the other area. One additional relation you should remember as far as square is concerned, that the diagonal of the square is actually root 2 times the side. There is a correction, mind you, it is root 2 times the side, not root 3 times the side. There is root 2 times the side. Remember that, do that correction here, not root 3, but it is root 2 times the side. So that these are the three classifications of parallelogram, which was itself one classification of quadrilateral. Second classification of quadrilateral is trapezium, where we have just one pair of opposite sides parallel. The other set of side which is not parallel are also called as oblique sides. There's a technical name to that. So let's study the properties of rhombus in detail now. The first one, the properties of trapezium. The first one, if the oblique sides of trapezium are equal, then it is called as an isosceles trapezium. Then the diagonals of the trapezium cut each other in the ratio of the parallel sides. So suppose the ratio of the parallel sides is S1 upon S2. So diagonals themselves will also cut in that same ratio, which apparently is, suppose A upon B is equal to X upon Y is equal to S1 upon S2. The third one, the two triangles that are formed by the oblique sides and the diagonals, that is the two sideways triangles, they are gonna have equal areas. The one which are being shaded right now, these two triangles will have equal area. Remember these all properties. Then the midpoint of the oblique sides is called as the median of the trapezium, and when we join that line, the best part is it is parallel to both the parallel sides, that is S1 and S2, and it is also average of both the parallel sides, that is median is given by S1 plus S2 upon 2. And lastly, as usual, perimeter and area. Perimeter, sum of parallel sides as well as sum of oblique sides. Area is uniquely, you draw the height h, and again on the other side also you would draw the height h, and then you have converted your figure into two right angle triangles and one rectangle, and you add all three of them, and this is what you get after all this simplification, which is half into S1 plus S2 into H. Obviously half into S1 plus S2 we have just now seen in the previous slide that it is called as median. So area of trapezium is also given by the formula median into height of the trapezium. Again, you should remember everything, because based on what kind of information you are dealing with, you would be required to use one of them. So this was the second classification of quadrilateral, which is trapezium. One pair of opposite side is parallel. The third and the last one, no pair of opposite side is parallel. You get a kite or a generic quadrilateral. Obviously kite, any random quadrilateral cannot be kite. There has to be some criteria also, that the adjacent sides has to be equal. So the right one is not the one, the left one is the kite. Why? Because each pair of adjacent sides are equal. Let's start with this, the properties of kite. The first one, the diagonals are perpendicular to each other. They will intersect at 90 degree. Then one of the diagonals will bisect the other diagonal, but it will also bisect the corresponding vertex angle. So suppose the vertical diagonal, it will not only divide the horizontal diagonal into two equal parts, but it will also divide the corresponding vertex angle. That is the properties of the kite's diagonal. Then as usual, perimeter, two adjacent sides, which is two pair of adjacent sides, which is a plus a 2a and b plus b 2b, that is 2 times a plus b. And lastly, area. Now trapezium sorry, the kite is not a type of parallelogram, so AB sin theta will not be there, but it is a classification of quadrilateral. So quadrilateral ka area ka formula, which is half into d1 d2 sin theta, will hold true here, but obviously sin 90 is 1, so that term goes off and we are left with half into d1 d2. So these are all the properties of kite. And with this we are also done with the third topic of module geometry, which is polygons. So go through all these properties. There are, as you would have seen, plenty of the formulae and the new things that you can study. Make sure you are good with them, only then you will be able to solve the question and understand the explanations. Thank you so much.